broadcasters has this very prescient saying. His name is Andrew Wilkow, and he works for Sirius XM on the Patriot. And he says, socialism is for the people and never the socialist. And you only have to wait long enough for a socialist politician to prove that statement correct. In Canada, just this morning, we've got Niki Ashton, a longtime member of the NDP Brain Trust and often touted as the next replacement to Jagmeet Singh, charging Canadian taxpayers for her family vacation. To break it all down, joining me now is Lauren Gunter of the Edmonton Sun. Lauren, tell us exactly what's happening. It looks like she charged us $17,000 plus to meet with stakeholders over the Christmas break. And wouldn't you know it, her kids came with her.
And her husband. We paid for all four of them to go to Quebec. They started in Quebec City and they went into, I'm not sure you exactly call it Northern Quebec. People in Northern Quebec might not think they were far enough north to qualify. But anyway, they toured around Quebec and then went home. And taxpayers footed the $17,000 bill for that. And, the irony of all of this is that 2 weeks ago, she was saying, well, we need to put caps on grocery prices because grocery store CEOs are gouging ordinary Canadians. Well, an MP who takes her family along on a junket for $17,000 is gouging Canadians. So she's a great one to talk.
This isn't the first time, though, we've had an NDP politician do exactly this, or at least as someone adjacent to an NDP politician. Remember Jenny Kwan's husband? He worked for a safe injection, safe treatment facility in British Columbia. And as it turns out, they were billing the organization that he worked for their family trips to Disneyland. So this really isn't anything new. The NDP is clearly not the party of the working man anymore.
Well, it's not really new for Niki Ashton either. I don't think she billed her trip to Greece during the pandemic lockdowns to taxpayers, but she lost her status as a shadow critic in the NDP caucus for having gone to Greece over the Christmas vacation in 2020, when all the rest of us were supposed to be in lockdown and not associating with one another and going to funerals or having Christmas parties or having weddings. She took off, flew to Greece to visit her grandmother, who was unwell. And I'm not suggesting she shouldn't have gone to Greece to visit her grandmother. I'm just saying you can't tell all the rest of us we can't do that too, and then go off and do it yourself. This was at the same time, you remember, in Alberta, there was the big fuss over, I think there were 8 UCP MLAs who had gone to Mexico or Hawaii over the Christmas, New Year's break after they had been told, the rest of us in Alberta had been told, we weren't supposed to travel because we didn't want to spread the pandemic. So it's the hypocrisy of it. It's the hypocrisy of her saying that grocery store CEOs are gouging the public when she's out gouging the public herself. And it's the hypocrisy of her saying, don't travel. The pandemic is awful. You have to follow all these restrictions. And then she took off and flew off to Greece. So I just think that you're absolutely right that the socialism is for the people and not for the socialists. They prove this again and again and again. They are part of the Politburo. They're part of the top literati in society. And so the rules that they enforce on the rest of us don't apply to them.
Well, and when you say that she is, gouging taxpayers, boy, is she ever. The trip costs, well, they say $17,000 in the headline, but quite honestly, it's closer to $18,000, $17,641, including $13,000 in airfare within Canada. That's wild. She's got $2,500 for accommodations. And this is the part that really goes to the hypocrisy, because you just mentioned her attacking the grocery companies for the cost of groceries, but she didn't have a problem charging over $1,500 for meals on her family vacation.
Mhm. Yeah, and the thing is, to get back to this hypocrisy with her and the grocery store CEOs, she was really particularly harsh on Loblaws. They're about a quarter of the Canadian grocery market. They had record profits in the third quarter of last year, and they had solid profits in the fourth quarter of last year and the first quarter of this year. And so she went ballistic on them. But what nobody on the NDP or the Liberal side seems to understand is that they were making their record profits from their discount lines. They do, for instance, they have No Frills is one of theirs. They have lower priced chains, not their Loblaw stores, not their city market stores that are a little bit higher priced. And they were making more money, even in their higher priced stores, from their bargain lines. Like they have the no-name products that they sell.
Yellow line.
That was exactly, that's where their profits were coming from. So what they were doing was responding to the public's demand for control over price or lower prices on groceries by offering more of their discounts. And that created a higher market share for them, and they made more profit. That's a win-win. It's a win for the consumer, and it's a win for the company. And yet here she was saying, oh my goodness, you're just gouging the public. And there she is out racking up $1,500 they didn't stop at McDonald's. I'm thinking that they weren't eating Happy Meals and McNuggets on $1,500.
Well, and you could tell by her response to the CBC that she never thought that she would be caught doing this, that she would never have to prepare a backstory or an excuse, because she says that she was going to the Capitol to, quote, attend meetings with stakeholders about business of the House over the holidays. That's according to her House of Commons travel records. But when they actually reached out to a spokesperson on the phone, they said she went to discuss, quote, language priorities and to find out, quote, things she needs to prioritize. She never even thought she would have to answer for this.
I'm sure she never did. It never occurred to her that what she was doing was wrong. I mean, I think it goes beyond never occurring to her that she'd have to account for this. It never occurred to her that what she was doing was unethical or wrong or a slap in the face of taxpayers.
If you think NDP MP Niki Ashton makes enough money to pay for her own family vacations, go to paythemoneyback.com and ask her to pay for her own family fun times.